Again, welcome everyone. It's really wonderful to be here with you. The topic this morning is very fascinating to me. Um, does God need our help? It's fascinating. I chose this topic because someone recently said to me, God doesn't need our help. God doesn't need your help. God can take care of everything just fine without you. It's we who need to be doing all of this seva, all of this activity in order to purify ourselves. And it just really, those words had a lot of truth in them. On one level, it was very freeing that there's nothing that I really have to do. All I need to do is be peacefully content in God's arms right now. It's not like, I don't know, that I have to accomplish this and this and that. And once I do this other thing, then I'll be happy. So in that way, it was very freeing. However, there was a little part in my mind that said, well, wait. God works through instruments. And if he didn't do things through channels, then nothing would be accomplished in this world. There's a joke, I'm sure most of you already heard it, but Swami Kriyananda would say it quite often that someone came to a farmer and said, "What a beautiful farm you and God have made here together." And I guess it was a priest that came to the farmer and said that. And the farmer laughed and said, well, you should have seen when God only had it to himself, kind of jokingly saying that, yeah, but the farmer he had to do the work. To just leave it only to God to make a beautiful farm, nothing would happen. And so this topic, really, the answer is both and. That does God need our help? No. On one hand, that if he wanted, he could materialize thousands of avatars just right now to come and fix everything on the planet. But he won't do that. That it's our job to figure out how we're going to fix this planet, if indeed it even needs fixing. There's another part of this to think about, that, in a school, you don't think, unless you're the principal, how can I make this school the absolute best school that it could ever be? If you're a child, you think, how can I graduate? And really, the world, it's going to go on like it's going. It will go on in the way that it's going. It will slowly get better over hundreds, thousands of years, and then decline again slowly. And it goes on forever. And it's not really our job to clean up the school. If a child falls into a mud puddle, you don't think, oh, darn mud puddle out there, I'm going to clean up the mud puddle. You simply take your child and give him or her a bath and clean up the child. And so it's not our job really to fix the school. It's our job to graduate. And so God has made this world exactly as he wants it. And on that level, it doesn't need fixing. So that's one answer. But then on the other hand, uh, yes, God does need us, that he does need to work through instruments. He needs to work through instruments on this physical plane. And otherwise, nothing would happen, just like that farmer. And it is our job in some way to make this world a better place. But the easiest way to make all of this, to resolve all of this, is it's these guys back here behind me. It's their job to make this a perfect world or to make it go exactly how they want. It's our job to be in tune with them and to have an attitude that, yes, we will make this, we will strive to make this a better world as they want it. And we will put as much energy into that as they want. But otherwise, we're here to fix ourselves. And so all of this work, again, I find it comforting that no, God doesn't really need our help. That all of this is just here for us to grow and for us to learn. There was a worldly song that I used to listen to maybe 25 years ago. I don't even really remember the name of the song. I just remember there was one lyric, and it was, could you think, or something like that, that all of this, that it was made for you, that this entire world, that it's here just for one reason, for you. And I don't mean that in an egoic sense, oh, I could possess the entire planet. And if I was in charge of the planet, then I'd be happy. No, you probably wouldn't be. You'd probably be burdened with all kinds of responsibilities you couldn't even imagine. I mean it in the way that when you wake up in the morning and there's all of these different experiences that you come to every day or that come to you, and there's all of these different choices that come to you every morning, that can you see those, that it's an opportunity for your own personal growth and for you to decide what decisions do you want to make today. And again, those decisions, they go well if we decide, God, what decisions do you want me to make? God, how can I be more in tune with you in order to know which decisions to make? Honestly, all of us are trying to make decisions so that we can be happier. And we're all striving to be happy, and every decision that we make, we're thinking that it's going to make us happier and happier. But the end result, usually, for most of us, is that it doesn't perfectly work, that it sort of works. And we wake up and we try it again, and it sort of works. And the question here is, how do we make this really, really work? How do we figure out how to be happy all of the time? And that, again, is that it's not so much what we're doing outwardly. It honestly doesn't matter so much the decisions that we make outwardly. Yes, we need to do God-reminding activities outwardly, but more than all of that, we need to purify ourselves inwardly so that no matter what happens outwardly, there's this little bubble of joy on the inside. And that bubble of joy, if we can learn to make it strong enough that it can never go away. And that's really why we're here. And in that way of thinking, no, God doesn't need our help. We need his help, and we need to learn how to be more in tune with God. We need to learn all of our lessons and take each experience that comes to us as something that's going to polish us, something that's going to refine us so that we can be happy, so that we can live more in tune. Sometimes I think I just want to graduate from this physical plane. Meaning I want to have no more desires, nothing that's compelling me to go outside and try this new type of candy bar or whatever it is. I want to just be totally free from it and above it all. And in that manner, not hate it or try to be away from it. I mean, often I visualize angels just completely above the entire physical plane and just sending blessings of light to all physical beings in the entire physical creation. And I think, yeah, that's for me. I want to rise up above this entire physical creation and just be sending blessings of light and working through each person's consciousness and helping guide them so that they too can become free from this entire physical creation. And the way to do that is in deep meditation. And we can go deep in meditation by being free from all physical desires. And then those physical desires, they won't rotate in our mind. We will be able to meditate deeply. We will be able to pierce through these veils and go into these higher spheres of existence. Fine. But in that line of thinking, it becomes so easy to think, I'm just going to drop out of all of this, that I'll just stay away from it. The more I go into it, even with a noble attitude of trying to help others, the more I just get entangled into this physical mess that I'm trying to escape and I want nothing to do with. But here's the deal, is that if we're truly free from all physical desires, we can't be entangled by it. That there's a beautiful thing in the Gita, as a water drop just falls off of a lotus leaf. And if you've ever seen a lotus leaf, it has some waxy substance on it that the water drop, it just can't stick there. It goes right off. And in the same way, if we have zero desires, that we can't be trapped by this physical world. And we will have an attitude, God, if you want me here in this world, all right. God, you don't want me here in this world, all right. And it's that place of neutrality within ourselves that actually makes us free. It's oh too easy to go inside and gain a space of negative renunciation of not this, not that. I'm just going to push this thing away, push these people away, push these circumstances away, and then I'll be able to meditate and then I'll be free. You know, there's a toy that children play with. It's simply a wooden paddle with a ball, and the ball and the paddle are connected by an elastic string. And the harder you hit that ball, it will go away from the paddle, but because it's connected by a string, that elastic string, it comes back. And so the harder we try to push away our desires, the negative ones, the more they seem to just come right back and we're entangled in it again. But the more we can just say, okay, God, that whatever it is part of your creation, and it's there. I accept that you've made the creation like this. And it's that I don't want it. It's not that I hate it. It's not that I really want it. I just acknowledge it's there. All right. I send blessings of light to those who are still caught in whatever that particular delusion may be. That's a good way to help you free yourself from any particular delusion you have. But you can tell if you meet someone and they, oh, these smokers, they're just, why do they have to come and pollute? And you go, wait a second. Whoever has that attitude, so unhappy with someone who smokes, you just might think, well, wait a minute. That guy still hasn't resolved that within himself. But someone smokes, all right. Send blessings of light. And you know this whole thing, I said this, did you ever stop to think that it's all for you? It's all just a mirror for you. And we just get to see, do I love my reflection? Do I hate it? Am I neutral about it? You know, the thing is to love God in your reflection, not take it personally. So easy sometimes. I absolutely love everyone. But often people think that I especially love them. I do and I don't. I love God's unique manifestation in each person. And so in that way, I especially do love each unique individual. But at the same time, I just love everyone absolutely the same, even the worst sinner. Because I know that person who's just filled with sin, it's just ignorance. I also know that I too have been through all of it in past incarnations. And this is another point that I wanted to make this morning, is that we have to have experience, that we go through all of these negative things, and some of them are very painful. But this is how we graduate. We graduate through experience. It's very fascinating that if we just stay on this planet long enough, and I don't mean, of course, in this one body or even this one physical planet, there's many others that we can go to learn the same lessons, but so we could say the physical plane. If we just keep incarnating again and again and again in a physical body on the physical plane, we gain experience, and eventually we graduate through experience alone, that we just say, okay, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work, this does work, this does work. And eventually we realize that we don't really want any of this. We're here. We can accept with an attitude of neutrality that if God wants us here, all right. If he doesn't, all right. But that our joy really is through higher experience and understanding, and through higher parts of our own being that we wish to give energy to and express. It's comforting to me in a way, because sometimes I think I need to get my Kriya practice just perfect. I need to perfect Hong Sa just perfect. I need to be able to chant just perfect. And once I'm so spiritually perfect, then I'll be free. And let's face it, I'm not spiritually perfect. And all of these different practices, they don't go perfectly every day. but I know that it's all right. That eventually I will graduate, even if I become a spiritual mess for a while, that I will escape delusion, attachment, karma. Eventually, we all graduate just by showing up every day. It's comforting to me. But then the other part of it is that Kriya does burn our karma. And that even if we practice a little bit of it, that slowly we get better at it. And slowly, even quickly as we get better with Kriya, that we can learn to graduate in this one lifetime. So that too is comforting. We all need a little comfort on the spiritual path, that it's not easy as we go year after year after year, but it's worth it. Another thing I wanted to talk about this morning was Swamiji's order, a renunciate order for the new age. Because the old renunciate way is to shut ourselves in our little cell. And you know, Devrishiji and I, along with Amit Purohit, if you know that great soul, we're here together in Chandigarh right now. And we're thinking about architecture and building a new monastery and finding a piece of land. And we're thinking about the old way was to monks enclose themselves in little cells and blocked out the world and just said, I'm done with that. And to just find God on the inside. Somewhat spiritually valid, but it doesn't make a whole human being. You take that monk out of his little cell and you put him in a shopping mall somewhere in the world with people running around, and he might just light up with desires. He puts some money in his pocket. I could go buy this and this and this, and look at all these people around, and it's so much fun. And you say, well, that didn't completely work. He's not a whole integrated human being. And anyway, this was just the old way of doing things. And the other important point that I wanted to make on this is that whether you're a monk or not, you can still shut yourself up. Even if you're going to a physical office every day, you can still make a wall around yourself that's not embracive and loving and kind to your fellow human beings. And if you have that wall, you have not graduated. That Swami was the most kind, loving human being to all. And yet he was one of the few true renunciates that I've actually met. There's many great souls. I don't want to put them down, but he was free. That he didn't live in fear. That it was like he didn't really have karma. He would say, Swami Kriyananda is an event that I am responsible for. That he wasn't that body whatsoever, that he was this huge expanded consciousness filled with bliss. And just to sit in his presence, you could become filled with bliss. And you didn't even know why. You didn't even know where it was coming from. We're so used to feeling joy due to some outward stimulus. And here, just to sit in his presence. And by the way, I felt that presence within all of you in this brief meditation we had. He is there within you. But just to sit in his presence was to just become permeated by that consciousness. And the more then we could consciously open ourselves up to that we could just be filled with overwhelming peace. My problems would disappear in his presence. And so today, whether I'm in some little cell, some little room, not talking to people, or whether I'm out looking at pieces of land and working with property dealers, that it's that consciousness on the inside that I'm trying to, if Swamiji wants us to buy a piece of land, all right. If Swamiji doesn't, all right. I don't feel some huge desire, I have to, with my will, make this thing happen. And obviously this is a big project and it does take willpower, and I can't just, be like the farmer who just says, God, you do it yourself. I'm well enough aware that nothing will happen and that it takes willpower. But I'm also in this project just trying to be oh so unattached and listen so sensitively to God's will at every step of the journey. And I really only want to do God's will. I've had enough suffering doing Jemal's will and watching things crash and burn with what I thought was right. And it's this attitude. This is why we're here, is to develop and perfect this type of attitude, to be able to get in tune with God. And so I was bringing up this Swamiji, this new Swami order, this Naya Swami order. It's for all of you listening. And it may not be your dharma to become a Swami in this lifetime. Fine, fine. But it is your dharma to seek God ever more perfectly. And even if you don't know what that means, it's your dharma, it's every human being's dharma to seek joy more perfectly. You know, we have created this mess that we're in, that we have created our own karma. We have filled ourselves with desires. Oh, if I was in charge of this project, or oh, if I was in charge of that, or oh, if I had this house or that car, or this person in my life, then I'd be happy. And we realize through experience that none of it worked, but we still have all that karma there, and we have to work through that karma through experience. But we also need to just settle down every day in meditation and offer all that karma back up to the spiritual eye and just burn it. There is no time. There is no space. These are words coming out of my mouth, but meditate on them. You don't have to understand like some kind of physicist that tells us how the cosmos was born and all of this kind of stuff, or you don't have to understand on some deep spiritual level. And I'm not even, I could start to just go off on that level, but I don't wish to. You just have to think, am I happy right now? Am I happy right now? And that's it. And if I'll take that question at the end in a couple of moments here, but if we just keep asking that, am I happy right now? And we just keep seeking joy. And yeah, we'll stumble, we'll seek false joy, it'll happen. But then will you get up? Or will you just cry and say, I'm down, life beat me down? Or will you get up and try again? I don't even remember the last thought song I gave, but I remember saying this is the secret to life. You just get up again and you just try. And in that way, we get spiritually stronger. And with that spiritual strength, we can go through anything. We might not necessarily be able to accomplish anything outwardly. I'm just at a point, who cares? I don't care if I can accomplish big things outwardly. You know, in India, you meet these big swamis, and they sometimes can arrogantly just put other people down. And I think, where's the love? And I think, didn't we become renunciates to get rid of ego and not to think that we're better than others, but to think that we're one with others? And anyway, I'll just be so honest. I was going to say all that big Swami stuff, it scares me. I want nothing to do with it. I just want to be a small, humble child of God. That's it. And here's the interesting thing. This is why I decided to share that personal thing. If I'm afraid of it, if I push it away, if I say, oh, no, 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 there's something I still have to work out. And this is the irony and the journey of life. When I first met Swami Kriyananda, he had this big chandelier. And I thought to myself, how much did that thing cost? And I was kind of feeling out Swamiji, who is this guy? And I realized Swami was comfortable in a shack. Swamiji was comfortable in a palace. And none of it was his. That he liked beautiful things to entertain guests and make them know that God is beauty. but he would give it away in a heartbeat. It wasn't his. And we just have to find that neutral place. Anyways, I know you all are finding that neutral place. It's always my joy to just be together in your presence, to feel God in your presence. The entire universe is within you. God is within you. Don't deny that. Feel that. Express it. Express it as love to your fellow human beings. Express it as joy to your fellow human beings. And you will graduate and you will go on to live in higher states of consciousness. Final point I'll make. It's so easy to think heaven's up there or out there or when I get there. It's right here, right now. The astral world itself. And it's a state of consciousness. And so please practice your Kriya. Learn to get into heaven right here, right now. In this last 2 minutes, I'm not going to do an arati. It's just too much for me to try to figure out the camera, and is only half of my body on the screen or what. So I'll take that one question and one question only. Okay, I will stay in touch about the developments in Chandigarh. I feel that whatever we're doing here is for everyone. I hope to inspire all centers, everyone, everywhere, to find little pieces of land and to do Swamiji's will. Trisha, what? Oh, okay. Well, now I just ruined the whole thing because that was privately and I wasn't supposed to say your name. But I sometimes make mistakes. Okay. Anyways, so this is about theory without giving this away too much, and practice, and that all of us can, sometimes we can just get a little overwhelmed. We can get irritated. It happens to all of us, all of us. I then say that, okay, there's some little vritti inside, there's some little hot spot, and I need to offer that up. But I don't pretend that I'm perfect. At the end of the day, I say, yep, I still got that vritti. It's still there, and I need some polishing. And God, help me polish this. Help me to become more perfect. And sometimes it's very difficult to see God in others and to think that God is the one who just pushed that button. But that's okay. Just don't hate that other person. That even if you can't see God in the other person, just realize that it's your own self. It's myself who needs help. And especially if this starts rotating in the mind, oh, that person, that person, that person. At the end of the day, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Do learn it. I'm not even going to say what it is. Master's Peace and Harmony Prayer. I'm sure you can just Google it. That thing works like anything. And then realize that you can become free. I got to go, but I'm going to just say this one last thing. I have another song that I have to do. Let's say you and somebody, you just hate each other. And I've always wondered, how can this work itself out? Because if that person specifically hates me, do we both have to graduate where we both are sending love to one another? I mean, this is the thing that makes us reincarnate. We both don't have to graduate. You just have to graduate. And in your oneness that you can go into and become one with that human being, that in that oneness, you can free yourself and send love and become that one person. And even if they don't reach that level in this incarnation, they'll work it out with another human being that might just look just like you, and they'll still be irritated. But you don't have to fix the world. You just fix yourself. Okay, everyone, I have to go. I send much love and Swamiji's blessings and joy to all of you. I love you. I love feeling your presence in deep meditation. I love feeling God's blessings through you. And we all have a lot of work to do to purify ourselves. I look forward to doing all of that work with all of you. I'll be in touch. Thank you, Bara Shamini, for building this beautiful platform where we can all have this time together, and many, many